Search is dying and AI has already taken over. If your brand isn't showing up inside answer engines like ChatGPT, you're already invisible. This is the AEO Show, the podcast that teaches you how to become the answer in the age of AI. Every episode breaks down what's working right now to get found in a zero-click world. Listen now and join the free forever community at AEO.co/free. Julien Lopez, the head of research at AEO.co, the man cracking the code. You've got your job cut out for you, dude. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, and I already gave up sleep since I've been following up with AI, but it's really entertaining. It's amazing.
Yeah, it really is. It's changing faster than, what am I going to try to say? The changes are happening faster than the decoding is happening. You know what I mean? So algorithm 1, let's say, just to put this in basic terms, is released. And then we go to work trying to crack the code on algorithm 1, and we get, 20% the way there. And then they wipe it and release algorithm 2, which is frustrating, but also exciting. And you know who I think it's most exciting for is agency owners. I think if you're an agency owner, because dude, here's the thing, agency owners from a service line perspective have been eaten alive. You don't need agency for so many things, including some of the higher end tasks like media buying, right? And I'm not saying you don't need media buying agencies, but you don't need people just pressing the buttons. They have to go broader, go post-click, go strategy. If you're an agency owner and you're looking for a new service line that has in my mind, no line of sight to obsolescence at the moment, I think AEO is the call. I think every agency on the planet should add an AEO department. I think they should all come join our school community and pay us money so they can learn how to do it. Because the frustrating aspect of AEO is a value proposition to the person who's solving the problem, because it means that we're always going to be in business, which is actually what I wanted you to talk about today. You said something on our internal call earlier that resonated deeply, because I keep hearing this. I'm in Alex Hormozi's little mastermind that he launched. It's 850 some odd people that have paid Alex $24,000 so that we get to talk to him once a month. Oh, and it's not even him, you know what I mean? So although Layla, I think, is as smart, if not smarter than Alex, God, the guy is brilliant. I just looked, it's 878 members in this community. And I brought up the AEO conversation. And when I explained to people how we think AEO should be done, that's what they said. They're like, oh God, this isn't SEO at all. So talk to us, Julien, a little bit about the nuances and actually, no, not nuances, about the staggering differences, right? Because it's not nuanced, it's staggering. And yet the whole SEO community is trying to sell the fact that it's the same thing. Stay with us, keep paying me my money.
Exactly. Well, yeah, we have been seeing this from last year when Google really launched AI overviews. Like they have been testing the search generative experience and everything like that. But now that AI overviews are really being present and answering, like giving answers right out of the gate on the search results, that's where SEOs started like really scrambling. Like you could follow the whole negation thing. Like they started saying, no, this is not it. This is not going to work. This is wrong. This is the wrong choice by Google. Then after they started kind of addressing the issue right in front, like we have been seeing many changes. The traffic is down. What do we do? And then now we have properly seeing the industry addressing directly the impact of AI experiences in search. So yeah, this is something that was too quick, honestly. Like you could see changes in the industry in years, but now we are only months that these experiences are launched, and they are only launched on really specific locations. Mostly AI mode is only on India and the United States, but this is going to be the default version, the default mode for search, for organic search.
It's nuts about that. I bought my kids Chromebooks. I bought each of my sons a Chromebook because I wanted them to learn AI. I've been thinking about my kids. I'm like, school's worthless now at this point. Like, what are you going to teach them vocationally that's going to be of any value? And so I thought, build a brand, learn AI. Those are the two things. So I bought them Chromebooks, and my task to them was, you can use this to launch your own YouTube channel, but your YouTube channel has to be teaching people how to use AI. And my eldest built a game, and dude, the way he did it was amazing. He used ChatGPT to code it. He used Bolt to run it, and he's using something else to host it, and he figured out that sequence of events himself. And the game's really good. It reminds me of the old school Oregon Trail hunting game where I don't know if you're as old as I am, Julien, but the first version of Oregon Trail was super, super finicky. But man, and he's customizing the game, and he's vibe coding his little heart out. Here's why I bring all this up. when you buy a brand new Chromebook and you take it out of the box and you create a new Google account, the default browser, of course, is Chrome. Guess what the default engine is?
Yeah.
Dude, it's not Google, it's Gemini. And I've never seen this UI. So what you and I are used to is Google search with search generative answers at the top of it. There's this whole new frame, which looks a lot like ChatGPT or Google's version of ChatGPT in the browser. And so my son doesn't know experientially that Google exists as a search engine. All he sees is Gemini, and Gemini doesn't deliver search results after the generative answers. It functions just like ChatGPT. So Google, to the point that you just made, just took Google search out in the backyard and shot it in the head. And we don't really realize that because, I mean, is there some holdover? Yeah, absolutely. Obviously there is. And people are going to take a long time to move. And we know that because there are people that still use dial-up AOL. And those aren't your most valuable consumers, right? Your most valuable consumers are the people that are going to move forward and they're going to be influential. And so for the billions of dollars that have been invested in Google search, I mean, it's already proven to be an antiquated model. We're just waiting for the firmware update.
Exactly.
And I just want to say one more thing. I'm so sorry, but I was reminded of something that you taught me. If you look at the data from ChatGPT, Perplexity, and Gemini, those are the 3 LLMs that we have the most data on. Not that they're the best, because I love Grok and I love Claude, but that's just where our data warehouse is. The ChatGPT crossover with Google search is something, remind me, it's like 40 to 60%.
Yeah, that's kind of it. And I have the most updated numbers, so if you want to see them real quickly, I think
Yes.
this is going to be like really eye-opening. So check this out. This is kind of a data point that we are going to be sharing on the school community only for our members. And what we have seen, this is a sample of the data that we currently have. This is just like a snapshot, and the total URLs analyzed are 3,970 URLs. And from those, only 1,235 rank on Google, 470 rank on Bing, 342 rank on both. And the crazy thing is that it's something that we have been seeing and that you have also been sharing with people, is that this is the spread, this is the distribution. So Perplexity in here has the most URLs cited that also rank on Google and Bing by a long shot, like compared to ChatGPT, which shares a little bit less. But the crazy thing is that AI mode doesn't have the main correlation with Google or Bing rankings. So this is something that is quite self-explanatory. I don't know, like, why are they?
Well, I want to challenge you on that. I think that it's self-explanatory to you because you spend your life here at the moment, and you're a really smart guy. I think for our listeners, dig into it. Why is that shocking? Why is the fact that Gemini doesn't overlap with Google search? Like give us a little bit more insight as to why that would be so impactful.
Yeah, well, to the point that you just mentioned, I think they are rewriting the rules for these experiences that they know, or they maybe they are changing everything from the start, like they're building their own index or doing something else. Like we have noticed that most of the results are from Google properties. So Google Maps, Google Shopping, like they have been kind of owning the data from, they own the data, they own the doors to the webs, to the wide web as we know it. And maybe that's why they are no longer kind of sharing that URL citation profiles that these other sources have. So they all rely on Google because they don't have nothing else, but Google has everything. So have everything on their places, on their own indexes to pull from, and they get to decide what they show to people. So if we go back to what their own motivations will be, like they 100% would like to increase their own traffic. They would like to keep the traffic, and that's a point that the Cloudflare CEO made. Like in the past, we used to see that Google will have like I don't have the exact numbers, but they, for each crawl that they do to your site to gather information and build their index, you will get certain amount of traffic. Now that's like the traffic that you will get compared to the starting point of Google is way less that we have. So So these are kind of the changes, the tendencies that we are now noticing really hard. So yeah, this is exciting. Like you can expect any of these tools have their own rules, but we are seeing that the one that is being more disruptive is the Google's own answer engine.
A few questions for you, Julian. The first one is, I see the data point, only 51% of AI cited sources appear in Google or Bing SERPs. But if and when I do the napkin math, I do 1235 divided by the 3970 that were analyzed, and I get 31%. And
Oh
if
yeah,
I add the 470, it's 40%.
yeah. Yeah, those are like these totals. Like this one, these are only for Google. The URLs ranked on Bing and the ones ranked on both add up to the 51% that I'm talking about here.
All right, dude. So that's nuts. What that means is Google's not using its own search graph in its results, but Perplexity is, and ChatGPT is not to the same degree as Perplexity, which there's a good and a bad there. The good is for old school carryover SEO, you're still getting the equity for SEO for a while. But it also means that they're going to have to follow suit because they're fishing in Google's old pond, right? They're fishing in like antiquated data. So let's talk about, so we know SEO and AEO functionally are different. And I think we just talked a little bit about why that is. Talk to me about the tasks required to achieve both of those goals. Because in SEO, and dude, this is still, my LinkedIn feed is full of SEO saying it's the same thing. It's all the same thing, just a different window. Talk to me about why the tasks are different in your material experience. And for our listeners, here's what I need to tell you. Julien has a team of 4 full-time employees who have done nothing for the last 10 months but analyze how LLMs source their citations. And they're doing it in very deep research ways. A lot of it manual, a lot of it buttressed by as much AI as we can muster. And we have, at this point, tens of millions of data points to support what he's about to say. So there's no dog in this fight other than we've analyzed the data, and we have more data, I think, than any other company on the planet. The only one that I might assume beats us is Monarch, a search atlas.
Yeah.
Even I don't think they're analyzing this the way that we're analyzing this. So at a minimum, we have more information than anybody else in the space. If somebody disagrees with that, by the way, please, dear God, challenge me. I'm not trying to overassert myself, but I want people to know, as I lob this grenade at the SEO world, I'm not doing it because I hate SEOs, right? Some of my best friends are in the SEO space. Michael Cottom's one of the people that I love the most, and he's one of the best SEOs on the planet. And it looks like the levers that we pull and the knobs that we've turned have changed massively. So the data-driven, data-backed assertions that you have, Julien, please.
Well, going back to what SEO means and what you have really commented on SEO, like being this set of actions to get you to rank higher in certain results, and that in essence, those actions are against Google's own rules. So this is something really interesting to keep in mind. This is a cat and mouse game that you get to play where you will optimize and try to understand how the search engine works in order for you to kind of catch up or get in better position. So this is something that is been happening. That is the whole name of the game. SEO is a set of actions that you get into your own website in order for your business to be recognized as or indexed as certain topics that will lead you to organic traffic. That was true for the last year or so, where most of the SEO, I want to make that distinction. Like when I refer to SEO different from AEO or something that is no longer effective, I will refer to the bulk of it, like the thing that most people will do, which will be just do the basics and fill this out with a lot of backlinks, several of them being really low quality on all of that, because
I want to pause on that, Julian. I'm so sorry, because again, I think you know so much that you're dangerous, and I don't want to glaze over that. SEO, in my experience, especially for the last 5 years, has just been backlink building.
Exactly.
And that's why, I mean, go look at it. Anybody who argues with me, they're like, no, content's important. No, it's not. That's lip service. Because if you look at what hardcore SEO sales, one of my really good friends, Dave Conklin, has taught me this. Conklin's he's one of the hackiest marketers I've ever met in my entire life. There's nobody that will ever find the fastest way. And it's high-end link building or expensive link building. So like, look at the Hoth, look at SEO.co, look at PosiRank. All the major SEO organizations, do they create content? Yeah, but that's the table stakes piece and it's the easy piece. What they do is they just buy links. And that's what Conklin told me. He's like, dude, if you buy enough links, you rank. And that's been a fact. So SEO has been very, very, very link building heavy. I interrupted you because I think you were about to go talk about where link building factors into the world of AEO.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it doesn't in the sense that SEO is, well, search engines is just another label, another layer under now what we call AEO. Like now that AI is using search engines for the purpose of building answers, we notice from the experiments that we have been running from being on these tools day and night, we now know that even if AI like Gemini, ChatGPT, or Perplexity uses these traditional search engines, we are seeing that not all of these results match to what these search engines show. So why is that? Because the driver AI is using the tool in a different way. So they are looking directly for the queries and taking that ranking as the truth, but they're rather looking for the really topical relevant sources and gathering the recommendations from there. So they are not looking for the specific first 10 answers and giving those results to the user. They rather go to the most relevant sources, to community sites, to directories, to review sites, to blogs that are specific to the search intent of the question, and then they will build their sample, like the sample of brands that are relevant to the answer by doing that kind of research. That's something that we used to do. We used to do this kind of research in different levels of searches, different queries. We will go by 10, 20 hours at a time to find the gaps in our research and what the different angles will matter for us to identify a worthy brand. But now AI does that for you. They go to Reddit to find recommendations, fresh recommendations from users, or they identify industry relevant blogs where they have this in-depth content about reviewing the most important or the best solutions for a problem. And that's how they build that knowledge. That's how they build the actual recommendation that they are giving users. They go through a process, a two-step process. They go to the reference site, they search, like they spend the 50% almost of their budget, just to call it something, like they go for these sites, and then you can see on the results, on the whole sources for these queries, that all of the other sites are brand websites related to those URLs. So they go for search recommendations, they get good enough references, and then they go to the website for these brands and they fetch the information that is required to build the answer. So that's something that we have discovered and we see over and over in our experiments.
So if I want to rank, and I know we're not supposed to use that word, but if I'm a brand and I want the LLMs to issue me as an answer, what do I do?
Yeah, well, you will have the bigger thing to have to become an answer will be to be part of that consensus. This is something that is being mentioned mostly on semantic SEO, which is it is the way that a machine can go and prefer one answer to another one. So it will go through the most amount of sites that have some authority and that mention one kind of an answer, and that will be the answer that they choose, just because there's consensus with many different sources. So I think that could be the bigger way in which we could become a recommended brand, just by consensus, building that consensus on your industry landscape, like finding and identifying the sources, the directories, the review sites, the communities in which your brand is being discussed, but that they are also being referenced by AI. So we know that not all of the websites are being cited, are being referenced. So I think the better approach will be to reverse engineer your queries, like find out or suggest or have a certain set of queries that you think will be the ones that your users or your potential clients are using to find you or find solutions that relate to your business. and build a list of the sources that come up. So in that way, you will identify which kind of sources are being cited, which formats work. We know that comparison articles work really great, even if those comparison articles live in your website. We have seen that over and over work for, I don't know, ClickUp or other services that.
Yeah, Ahrefs, one of their pages is a comparison. And it's so weird because it's like very obviously not objective.
That's exactly right. But you get to read it. If you read some of these comparisons, they seem fair. They are really throughout. They really explain everything. But of course, you can see that the narrative behind it is built to put you in the best position. Like at the end, you want to convince people with reason, with good enough detail that your answer is the best. And in the best case scenario, an user will read all of that and see. It will say like, well, you did your job. I will assume that you are right, and we'll see. Just cut to the chase and see why you are the best answer with that. But this kind of content, built as an answer for this type of questions, like alternatives to X brand, the most notable brand in your market, will be a good enough blog post that you can build. And honestly, if you build this type of content and get it guest posted in some other industry relevant sites, that will increase your chances, just because you will have again this layer beyond your website that talks about you.
Yeah, it's a diversification of mentions. I want to draw a distinction though between what you said and what we were saying earlier. Link building requires a URL with anchor text firing back to your website. But the thing that you just mentioned isn't link building, because they actually don't have to provide a link as long as they're mentioning the brand, which is it's a very, very different way of thinking about, you know what it is? It's a different way of thinking about ranking or brand building. It's different than SEO, but it sort of goes back further, right? It's very like Don Draper. He's like, you just need impressions and people hearing about your brand. Well, people now becomes AI, and the more diversity you have. And I really like what you said. If you don't know what to do, go look at the queries that you do want to be mentioned for and see what references AI is already using. My brother owns the biggest rug store in the state of Arizona. It's called Ollie Sean Fine Rugs. He's in Scottsdale. He has a larger footprint in terms of square foot than anybody else. He has more rugs than anybody else. He has more Google reviews than anybody else. He's been around longer than anybody else. He's ASID's platinum partner, blah, 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 blah. He's very clearly the best rug store in Scottsdale. Here's why I bring this up. Because if you ask ChatGPT, what's the best rug store in Arizona? This little obscure store that's never been a competitor to anybody comes up. And Sammy, my brother's store, is number 2. And when I went and looked at the references, it was House, and both this little obscure store and my brother have that. And it was Phoenix Home and Garden, which is a big publication here for furnishings and stuff. And both of them have that. And then it was Yelp. And my brother's done nothing to cultivate his Yelp profile, but this store has all these Yelp reviews. So all of a sudden, my brother, who's been a category king for 15 years, has been backseated to this teeny tiny sort of, God bless them. I hope they do very well, but they're a nothing of a store. They have no inventory. They have no real reviews. They have no real business. They haven't been around, but they crushed Yelp. And for whatever reason, AI really, really, really likes Yelp. So first of all, I hate Yelp. If you have any interest, go watch the documentary $1 Billion Bully. It's a bunch of con artists screwing small business owners. And for my brother, his action item would be go build out your Yelp. And it's exactly what you're saying. It's reverse engineer what the AI mechanisms want to see. And what's really nice is they're telling you, hey, this is what we're using. This is the information that we're using in order to make this conclusion. My question for you is, do you think we have the ability to change what information they're using? So if my brother were to create really extraordinary content somewhere else, like if you were to start doing, Instagram just became fully indexable. So if you were to start really pouring into Instagram, can you influence where the AI goes for the information? Because a lot of what we're talking about is lag indication. The way to change the lead indication of mentions inside of LLM.
Yeah, well, I'm not really sure, but just by first principles, I think the more that you do on the wide web, the better the chances that you get at being talked about. I think this is something that we don't really think too much. Like we are really used to to think about what the tactics are and where do I buy them. Like this is kind of the sustainable approach that we get to think. But I will say like the first thing that we should think about on this honestly will be to reach out to your network, reach out to your competitors, even if you want to build some kind of collaborative effort. Like that will be the first thing that I will do. Like if you have some friends that have a podcast or media or anything, like just try to build the kind of external presence that will appeal to AI. So this
AI
is
likes authority.
yeah. So why go all the way to start shopping for options? First, I think you should really leverage what you currently have and really build something that is so sustainable. There cannot be anything more relevant than your close circle or the circle beyond that, which will be your own market. Other businesses that are related but not competitive to you. You guys can both share brand mentions like that, find ways to collaborate. A podcast will be amazing between some other services that are similar but not on the same space than you. And if you talk about if you share one media with another person that has an audience, that's an instant way to increase your message and your brand distribution in a way.
Mm-hmm. I really love the idea of working with, there's friendly competitors, right? There's
Yeah.
I want to slit their throat competitors. And then there's people who like, actually, we're in this together and rising tides floats all ships. I read this thing that was extraordinarily insightful about McDonald's. McDonald's spends, I forget what the number was, but it was in the millions of dollars choosing where to place a restaurant. Burger King follows McDonald's. Burger King, wherever McDonald's goes, or we're going on the corner of Main and Fifth, Burger King goes, great, we're going to go right across the street, because they already know McDonald's is spending millions of dollars to figure out demographically, spend, traffic patterns, whatever. Well, what McDonald's figured out was if there's a McDonald's on the corner by itself, it'll do, whatever, $20,000 a month gross revenue. I'm making numbers up. If there's a McDonald's and a Burger King, that McDonald's will do 40. And it's because if there's only a McDonald's, people drive by and say to themselves, oh, should I eat at McDonald's or should I eat at home? But if there's a McDonald's and a Burger King, they say, oh, should I eat McDonald's and should I eat at Burger King? So those options actually help. So McDonald's started to tip off Burger King and say, just FYI, we've isolated this corner and we should both go build something there.
Amazing. Yeah.
There's a way to collaborate with your competitors in a way that makes sense. Julien, this has been extraordinary. I appreciate you as always, brother. If you're watching, thank you so much, and we'll see you in the next episode. Thank you for tuning in to the AEO Show. Do you want to learn how your brand can become the answer for AI engines like ChatGPT, Perplexity, and Gemini? Join our free forever community at AEO.co/free and get access to research, tools, and live discussions that will keep you ahead of what's next. Don't forget to subscribe, share, and leave a review, because the future of search is already changed.